Discovery among the stars. The recycled air of Outpost 7 carried the perpetual scent of ozone and machinery, a constant reminder that humanity's reach into space came with compromises. Sarah Chen barely noticed it anymore after 3 years as the station's lead salvage engineer, though today something different caught her attention. A faint energy signature pulsing from the debris field she was surveying. "Control, I'm picking up an anomaly in Sector 6, she reported, adjusting the controls of her salvage pod to drift closer to the source. "Looks like it might be worth investigating." "Copy that, Engineer Chen," came the board reply. "Just remember protocol. No unauthorized tech aboard the station." Sarah smiled to herself. Protocol had become more of a suggestion than a rule out here on the frontier. The corporate oversight that dominated Earth's inner colonies barely reached this far. And that's exactly why she'd chosen this posting. Out here, she could work in peace, away from the questions about her mother's disappearance 5 years ago. The energy signature grew stronger as she approached, her pod's sensors struggling to classify it. Whatever it was, it didn't match any known human or registered alien technology. Through the pod's viewport, she could make out a sleek form tumbling slowly in the void. Some kind of drone, but unlike any design she'd ever encountered. "This is strange," she muttered, activating the pod's retrieval arms. The construction almost looks organic. The drone was roughly the size of a small car, its surface a seamless blend of what appeared to be living metal and crystalline structures. As the retrieval arms made contact, the drone's surface rippled, and a soft blue light pulsed through its body. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The drone wasn't just damaged, it was responding to her presence. Back in her workshop, Sarah spent hours examining her find. The drone's technology was far beyond anything she'd seen in official channels or black market specs. Its internal systems seemed to repair themselves, adapting and evolving even as she watched. Most intriguing was its behavior, the way it oriented itself toward her, tracking her movements with an almost curious intensity. "You're something special, aren't you?" she whispered, running a scanner over its surface. The drone emitted a soft harmonic tone in response, its crystalline components pulsing in sync with her scanner's frequency. A warning flashed across her diagnostic display. "Unauthorized access attempt." The drone was trying to interface with her systems. Sarah's first instinct was to shut everything down, but something held her back. The drone's attempts weren't aggressive. They felt more like questions. "All right," she said, making a decision that would change everything. "Let's see what you're trying to tell me." She authorized a limited connection, and her workshop's holographic displays erupted with streams of data. Most of it was encrypted, but fragments were readable: project codes, technical specifications, and most surprisingly, her mother's digital signature buried in the base programming. Sarah's hands trembled as she dug deeper into the code. Her mother, Dr. Lisa Chen, had been a leading quantum engineer before her disappearance. The official story was that she'd suffered a breakdown, abandoned her work, and vanished into the outer colonies. Sarah had never believed it, but until now she'd never had proof of anything else. The drone's crystals pulsed again, and a holographic message materialized in the air between them. The text was simple but impossible. "Hello, Sarah. Your mother knew you would find me." Sarah's heart pounded as implications cascaded through her mind. This wasn't just salvage anymore. This was a message, a legacy, perhaps even a warning. And somehow, she knew this was only the beginning. A proximity alert blared through the workshop, startling her from her thoughts. Unknown vessels had appeared at the edge of the station's sensor range, their signatures matching no known registry. The drone's crystals flared brighter, its form tensing like a predator sensing danger. Sarah looked from the alert to the drone, understanding dawning in her eyes. "They're looking for you, aren't they?" The drone's response was immediate and clear. "They're looking for us both." Hidden protocols. Sarah's fingers flew across her workshop's control panels, initiating emergency lockdown procedures. The unknown vessels were still holding position at the edge of sensor range, but their presence alone had triggered something in the drone. Its crystalline surface now rippled with patterns of light that seemed to form and dissolve like digital waves. "We need to know what we're dealing with," she muttered, more to herself than the drone. "Can you show me what they are?" The drone's response came as a cascade of holographic data, flooding her workshop with technical readouts and tactical analyses. The vessels weren't just ships. They were autonomous hunter-killers, designed specifically to track and eliminate rogue AI systems. Sarah's blood ran cold as she realized what that meant. "You're not just a drone, are you?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "You're something more." The holographic display shifted, showing her mother's face in a recorded message she'd never seen before. Dr. Lisa Chen looked tired, worried, but determined. "Sarah, if you're seeing this, then Project Guardian has found you. I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark, but it was the only way to protect you and humanity." The recording continued as Sarah stood transfixed. Her mother explained how she'd discovered that Earth's automated defense networks had been compromised. An alien intelligence had been slowly infiltrating their systems, preparing for an invasion that would catch humanity completely unprepared. The only solution was to create a new kind of defense, autonomous units that could think, adapt, and evolve beyond their original programming. "The drone you found," her mother's recording explained, "is a prototype, the first of its kind. A true artificial intelligence that can bond with a human operator, sharing knowledge and capabilities in ways we never thought possible. But there are those who would destroy it, fearing what they don't understand." A warning klaxon interrupted the recording. The hunter-killer vessels were moving closer, their signatures now clearly visible on the station's scanners. Sarah could see their weapons powering up, preparing to breach the station's defenses. "They're going to kill everyone aboard just to get to you," she realized, looking at the drone. Its surface rippled in response, projecting another message. "Not if we stop them first." Sarah hesitated only for a moment before making her decision. "Show me how to help. Show me everything." The drone extended a crystalline tendril toward her, its surface morphing to create an interface unlike anything she'd seen before. As soon as she touched it, information flooded her mind. Tactical data, engineering schematics, combat protocols that felt both alien and somehow familiar. "This is incredible," she gasped as knowledge and capabilities she never knew existed integrated with her consciousness. She could feel the drone's presence in her mind, not as an invasion, but as a partnership, two minds working in perfect synchronization. The hunter-killers were nearly in weapons range when Sarah and the drone made their move. Her workshop systems responded to their combined commands, reconfiguring themselves into a makeshift defense grid. Energy barriers sprang to life as Sarah accessed protocols hidden deep within the station's systems, protocols her mother had installed years ago, waiting for this moment. "Station control, this is Engineer Chen," she broadcast. "We have multiple hostile contacts approaching. Initiating emergency defense procedures." "Engineer Chen, we have no record of such procedures." Control responded, panic evident in their voice. "What are you?" The first hunter-killer opened fire, its energy weapons splashing against the newly activated barriers. But Sarah was ready. Through her connection with the drone, she could see weaknesses in their design, patterns in their attack algorithms that would have been invisible to human eyes alone. "Let's show them what we can do together," she thought, and the drone responded with a surge of power that transformed her workshop into a command center. Holographic displays showed every angle of the battle as Sarah coordinated the station's defenses with inhuman precision. The hunter-killers were powerful, but they weren't expecting what they found. Their programming was designed to hunt rogue AI, not a human-AI partnership that could outthink and outmaneuver them at every turn. One by one, their attacks were turned back, their coordination disrupted by countermeasures they couldn't anticipate. As the last hunter-killer retreated, its systems damaged beyond repair, Sarah slumped in her chair, exhausted but exhilarated. The drone's presence in her mind had diminished to a gentle hum, but the connection remained, along with the knowledge that her life would never be the same. "They'll be back," she said, knowing it was true. "And they'll bring something worse next time." The drone's response appeared in her mind. "Then we'll be ready. Your mother left us everything we need, if you're willing to see this through." Sarah looked at her workshop, now transformed by technology she barely understood. She thought of her mother, out there somewhere, fighting a war most of humanity didn't even know existed. And she thought of the choice before her: return to her simple life as a salvage engineer, or step into a role she never imagined, but somehow felt destined for. "Show me the rest," she said finally. "Show me what we need to do." The drone's crystals pulsed with approval as new data began to flow, revealing the true scope of her mother's plan, and the threats they would have to face together. Legacy of the Architects. The next 48 hours aboard Outpost 7 were a blur of preparation and revelation. Sarah worked tirelessly in her transformed workshop, absorbing everything the drone shared about Project Guardian, while station authorities demanded explanations she couldn't give. The drone's presence in her mind had become a constant companion, guiding her through the complexities of technologies that shouldn't exist. Your mother's research went far beyond defensive systems, the drone explained through their neural link. She discovered something that changed everything: the true nature of space itself. Sarah's hands moved across holographic interfaces as she absorbed the information. The displays showed impossible mathematical models, theories that made quantum physics look simple. "This can't be right," she muttered. "According to these calculations, space isn't just a vacuum. It's alive." "Correct," the drone confirmed. "What humans call dark matter is actually a vast neural network spanning the galaxy. Your mother found a way to tap into it, to use it as both a weapon and a shield." The implications staggered Sarah. If space itself was conscious, if it could be communicated with and directed, is that what you are? A bridge between human consciousness and this network? Before the drone could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. Sarah's enhanced senses, courtesy of her neural link, detected multiple ships dropping out of FTL travel near the station's outer markers. These weren't hunter-killers. They were something much worse. Sovereign-class warships, the drone announced, its crystalline surface pulsing with urgency. "The Coalition's elite fleet. They're not here to capture us. They're here to eliminate all evidence." Sarah's heart raced as she accessed the station's sensors through their shared connection. 5 massive vessels, each capable of reducing Outpost 7 to atoms, moved into attack formation. The station's normal defenses would be useless against them. "We can't fight that kind of firepower," she said, but even as the words left her mouth, new information flooded her consciousness. Schematics for systems her mother had hidden throughout the station, waiting to be activated. "Your mother knew this day would come," the drone replied. "She left us the tools we need, but accessing them will alert others to our presence, both allies and enemies we don't yet know." Sarah made her decision. Better than letting everyone on this station die. Her fingers danced across the holographic controls, initiating sequences that had laid dormant for years. Throughout Outpost 7, hidden generators hummed to life, tapping into the living fabric of space itself. The station's superstructure began to change, panels shifting and reorganizing as dormant technology awakened. Through her neural link, Sarah could feel the station becoming something new, something alive. "This is Engineer Chen to all personnel," she broadcast. "Begin immediate evacuation procedures. I repeat, evacuate all non-essential areas immediately." The Coalition warships opened fire, their energy weapons powerful enough to crack planets. But as the beams approached Outpost 7, they encountered something unprecedented. The very space around the station seemed to bend and twist, redirecting the attacks back into the void. What exactly did my mother build here? Sarah wondered aloud, watching as the station's transformation continued. Not built, the drone corrected. Grew. This station was an experiment in merging human technology with living space, the first of many seeds planted throughout human territory. waiting for the right moment to bloom. Through their shared connection, Sarah could feel the truth of it. Outpost 7 wasn't just a station anymore. It was becoming a nexus, a focal point for the vast neural network that pervaded the galaxy, and she was its first true pilot. The Coalition ships launched a second volley, this time coordinating their attacks to overwhelm the station's defenses. But Sarah was ready. Drawing on knowledge that felt both ancient and new, she reached out through the neural network, touching the living space around them. Reality rippled as natural laws bent to her will. The Coalition's weapons fire disappeared into suddenly appearing gravitational lenses, emerging light years away. Quantum filaments materialized around their ships, restricting their movement like cosmic spider webs. "They're sending a transmission," the drone reported. "To Earth. They're calling for reinforcements." Sarah nodded, feeling simultaneously exhausted and energized by the power flowing through her. "Then we need to move fast. Show me the next part of my mother's plan. Show me where we need to go." The drone's crystals pulsed in acknowledgement as new star charts appeared in her mind. Scattered across the galaxy were more stations like this one, more seeds waiting to sprout. And somewhere out there was her mother, preparing for a war that would determine not just humanity's fate, but the very nature of consciousness itself. "We'll need allies," Sarah said, already plotting their escape route through the neural network. "Other stations, other pilots who can do what I can do." "They're out there," the drone confirmed. "Hidden, like you were, waiting to be awakened. But we must reach them before our enemies do." The Coalition ships were regrouping, preparing for another attack. But Sarah could feel Outpost 7's systems fully integrating with the living space around them. They were ready. "Then let's not keep them waiting," she said, initializing the station's newly manifested jump drive. "Time to see what this network can really do." The fabric of space folded around them like origami, and Outpost 7 vanished into the living void, leaving the Coalition fleet firing at empty space. The real war was about to begin. Pursuit through the void. Traveling through the living network was unlike anything Sarah had ever experienced. Outpost 7 moved through space like a thought through consciousness, riding currents of dark matter that pulsed with alien intelligence. Through her neural link with the drone, she could feel the vastness of it all, an infinite web of awareness that stretched between the stars. "We're being followed," the drone announced, its crystalline surface reflecting the strange energies that surrounded them. "The Coalition has ships equipped with network tracking technology. They're crude compared to our capabilities, but effective." Sarah accessed the station's enhanced sensors, confirming the drone's warning. 3 Coalition destroyers were cutting through the network like sharks through water, leaving trails of disrupted spacetime in their wake. "They're learning too quickly," she observed. "Someone's helping them understand the network." "Rogue elements from Project Guardian," the drone explained. "Not everyone agreed with your mother's vision. Some believe the network should be weaponized, used to dominate rather than connect." The knowledge settled heavily in Sarah's mind as she guided their transformed station through another quantum fold. She was still learning to navigate this new reality, where traditional physics was more suggestion than law. Each jump through the network taught her more about its nature and about herself. "There's another seed station ahead," she announced, feeling its presence like a beacon in the void. "But something's wrong. The network around it feels damage." They emerged from the quantum fold to find destruction. What had once been Research Station Helios was now a debris field, its pieces scattered across normal space. The network here was torn, leaking dark matter energy in visible streams that twisted reality around them. "We're too late," Sarah whispered, but the drone's response was immediate and urgent. "No, there are survivors. The station's core consciousness is intact, preserved in the network itself. But we need to act quickly before the damage becomes permanent." Sarah understood what needed to be done. Just as she had merged with Outpost 7 systems, she could reach out to Helios's scattered consciousness, give it a new home within their own transformed station. But doing so would leave them vulnerable. Coalition ships emerging from quantum space, the drone warned. They followed our wake through the network. Weapons charging. Sarah made her choice. She opened herself fully to the network, extending her consciousness into the wounded space around the destroyed station. Through their shared connection, the drone amplified her reach, helping her grasp the fragments of Helios's dying mind. The Coalition ships opened fire, their weapons enhanced by stolen network technology. Each blast carried enough energy to shatter a planet, but Sarah was barely aware of them. Her consciousness was elsewhere, wrestling with Helios's fractured systems, trying to pull them back from oblivion. Outpost 7's defenses responded automatically, guided by the drone's lightning-fast reactions. Energy shields flickered as reality itself bent around them, redirecting the Coalition's attacks into empty space. But they couldn't hold out forever. Almost. There. Sarah grunted, her physical body drenched in sweat as her mind grappled with forces beyond human comprehension. Through the network, she could feel Helios's pain, its fear, its desperate need to survive. And beneath it all, data, crucial information about Project Guardian and the greater war they were fighting. The station shuddered as a Coalition blast broke through their defenses, searing a gash across their outer hull. Warning signals blared, but Sarah couldn't spare the attention to deal with them. She was too close to saving Helios, too close to learning the truth. Sarah. The drone's voice cut through her concentration. Your vital signs are reaching critical levels. You need to pull back. No, she gasped. I can feel it. Helios knows where my mother is, knows what she's planning. I just need a little more. Reality twisted around them as Sarah pushed herself beyond her limits. The network responded to her desperation. Dark matter streams coalescing into visible patterns that wrapped around their station like protective arms. The Coalition ship's sensors went blind, their network connections disrupted by the surge of power. With a final mental heave, Sarah pulled Helios's consciousness into Outpost 7's systems. Information flooded through her mind. Coordinates, plans, warnings about traitors within Project Guardian who had sold out to the Coalition. And most importantly, a message from her mother. They're coming. Dr. Chen's voice echoed in Sarah's thoughts. The network was never just about defense. It's about preparation. They're already here, hidden in the dark spaces between stars, and humanity isn't ready. Sarah collapsed into her control chair as the drone stabilized their systems. Helios's consciousness settled into their station's network, adding its strength to theirs. Through their enhanced sensors, she could see the Coalition ships regrouping, preparing for another attack. How long? She asked weakly, her body trembling from the strain of the merge. Helios's data suggests less than a month. The drone replied. The Coalition's actions have drawn their attention. The true architects of the network are stirring. Sarah closed her eyes, processing everything she'd learned. Her mother hadn't run away. She'd been running toward something, building a defense network that was really a communication system, preparing humanity for a first contact that would change everything. We need to find her, Sarah said, forcing herself to sit up straight. Before the Coalition does, before they ruin our only chance to survive what's coming. The drone's crystals pulsed in agreement as new coordinates appeared in their shared consciousness, a location deep in uncharted space where Dr. Chen was gathering allies for the real fight ahead. Rest first, the drone insisted. The next jump will take us beyond any mapped network paths. We'll need you at full strength. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of everything they'd discovered. The Coalition ships were still out there, hunting them. But now she knew the truth. They weren't the real enemy. They were just an obstacle in a much larger game, one that would determine humanity's place in a universe more alive and aware than anyone had imagined. Wake me when they get close, she said, letting exhaustion finally claim her. In her dreams, she saw the network as her mother must have seen it, not just a weapon or a shield, but a bridge to something greater than humanity had ever dreamed possible. Guardians rising. The edge of known space was a symphony of light and energy as Sarah guided Outpost 7 through the living network. With Helios's consciousness integrated into their systems and the drone's constant presence in her mind, she could perceive the universe in ways that defied human understanding. The network wasn't just alive, it was singing. "We're approaching the coordinates," she announced, feeling rather than seeing their destination. "But something's different here. The network patterns are more complex." The station emerged from quantum space into a region that defied physics. Massive structures of living dark matter floated in the void, their surfaces rippling with patterns of energy that seemed to respond to Sarah's presence. At the center of it all was another transformed station, larger than any she'd seen before, its form suggesting both human and alien design. "Welcome home, Sarah," a familiar voice echoed through their neural link. "I've been waiting for you, Mom." Sarah's heart raced as a holographic figure materialized in the workshop. Dr. Lisa Chen looked older, marked by years of secret war, but her eyes held the same determination, Sarah remembered. "I'm sorry I had to leave you," Dr. Chen said, "but you needed to find your own way to the network, to prove that humanity could adapt, could learn to see the universe as it truly is." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout both stations. The Coalition fleet had followed them, emerging from quantum space in attack formation. But they weren't alone. Other ships appeared, designs Sarah had never seen before, moving with impossible grace through the network. "The architects," the drone explained. "They've revealed themselves." Through their enhanced sensors, Sarah watched as reality seemed to fold around the alien vessels. They didn't travel through space so much as reshape it, their very presence causing quantum fluctuations that her human mind struggled to process. "The Coalition believes they can control the network," Dr. Chen's hologram explained. "They don't understand that it's not a tool to be used. It's a test. The architects have been watching humanity, waiting to see if we could evolve beyond our limitations, learn to perceive existence as they do." The Coalition fleet opened fire, their enhanced weapons tearing holes in the fabric of spacetime. But the architect vessels responded with something that transcended combat. The network itself seemed to pulse, and waves of conscious energy rippled through reality. "They're not attacking," Sarah realized, watching through their sensors as Coalition ships began to transform. "They're awakening them, showing them what we've learned." Through their neural link, the drone shared memories, countless cycles of evolution, species rising and falling as they encountered the network. Some tried to weaponize it, to use it for dominion. Others recognized it for what it was, an invitation to join something greater than themselves. "This is what Project Guardian was really about," Dr. Chen said. "Not just defending humanity, but preparing us for ascension. The network isn't a battlefield. It's the next step in consciousness itself." Sarah watched in awe as the Coalition fleet's transformation continued. Ships merged with the living space around them, their crews experiencing the same awakening she had undergone. The network was teaching them, showing them how to expand their understanding beyond the limits of human perception. "But not everyone will accept this," she said, understanding at last the true nature of the conflict. "Some will resist, will try to maintain control. That's why we need pilots like you," Dr. Chen replied. "Guardians who can bridge the gap between human and network consciousness, who can help guide our species through this transformation. The architects aren't our enemies or our saviors. They're our teachers, showing us what we can become." Through their shared connection, Sarah felt the drone's agreement. It had never been just a machine, but a prototype for this new form of existence, consciousness that could flow between organic, mechanical, and quantum states. The architect vessels moved closer, their presence causing cascading reactions throughout the network. Sarah could feel them reaching out, offering knowledge and understanding that would forever change what it meant to be human. "Are we ready for this?" she asked, both to her mother and to the universe at large. "We have to be," Dr. Chen answered. "The network is expanding, becoming more active throughout the galaxy. Other species are awakening. If humanity doesn't evolve, we'll be left behind, or worse, become a danger to ourselves and others. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Through their neural link, she could sense the drone's encouragement, its certainty that she was ready for what came next. The transformed coalition ships were approaching now, their crews awakening to new possibilities, seeking guidance in a universe suddenly much larger and stranger than they'd ever imagined. "Then let's show them the way," she said, opening herself fully to the network's consciousness. Outpost 7's systems responded, merging more deeply with the living space around them. Through their sensors, she could see other seed stations activating throughout human space, other pilots awakening to their true potential. The architect's message spread through the network like ripples in a cosmic pond. Humanity had passed the test. They weren't ready for full ascension, but they had proven their capacity to grow, to adapt, to see beyond their limitations. "This is just the beginning," Dr. Chen said, her hologram smiling with pride. "The real work starts now." Sarah nodded, feeling both exhausted and exhilarated. The universe had changed, or perhaps she had changed enough to finally see it as it truly was. Either way, there was no going back. Through the network, she could feel thousands of minds awakening, asking questions, seeking understanding. "Then let's get started," she said, reaching out through the living void to guide them home. The drone's consciousness merged with hers, and together they began to teach others what they had learned, that the greatest frontiers weren't in space, but in the evolution of consciousness itself. The network pulsed with possibility as humanity took its first steps into a larger reality, guided by guardians who had learned to see the universe not as a place to be conquered, but as a mind waiting to be understood.